Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. So, where to begin? First of all, no one should be really telling anyone how to celebrate today, specifically if you've gone out of your way to remain politically ambiguous. I have absolutely no interest in what you have to say. Thank you. That's all. Celebrate it however you would celebrate. You'll notice I'm wearing all black. Good morning, Debs, Kara, Zeke, Bob. Good to see you. So check this out. First things first. Guy I was on active duty with in the Marine Corps made a movie about Magic the Gathering. More specifically about the 1998 U.S. Nationals. It features interviews with most of the people that were like professional players around that time, up to and including like the commentators. It was a masterful job done by someone I was on active duty with, and this is something that we share in common as a passion, as a hobby. Um, so I want to make sure I share that link with you. And then, as we are want to do every day, we listen to war, right? Okay, massive protest planned today, and basically like a couple. Don't tease me like that. Joanne, so did you see Iran put a hit out on Bibi and Trump? Let's go. Monavel. It would be crazy if a whole bunch of people stopped paying their federal taxes. I'm doing good. I had a wild day or two. So my power went out for like an hour yesterday. And then um, I hadn't been able to work. And I keep in mind I work from home. And I got on my work computer in the last couple days and I can get into Salesforce. So keep in mind, Salesforce just laid off a bunch of people. But for the last few days, I've gone to log into Salesforce and open up a conversation I'd had, and I don't have access anymore. And it was a company-wide issue, so plenty of people were having issues with it, and there wasn't really a good workaround. And so I didn't work like end of day Wednesday, didn't work at all yesterday, and I had to spend my own money, buy myself new headsets because I logged into work yesterday. The headset that they sent me stopped working. They just send the rickety, they're under $20. And so I had an old Jabra headset, and it's just a USB headset, and I plugged it in, and I sat here for a minute, and I didn't hear any sound, and I thought I could hear a noise, and I pulled like a noise, and I pulled the USB port out, and the metal part was so fucking hot that I set it down on this mat that I use, and it burnt the fuzz off. So the problem that I have is these compact. I had to buy two new headsets. Yeah, I better sound fucking good. I just spent $50. I got myself a new headset and a backup, and then they're gonna have to send me. And so let me finish what I was saying. So they send out these little compact PCs. They're like this thick. Yeah, and there's a USB port on the front facing you, right? Well, if you think about how do you get into the inside of that PC, there's a back plate that falls off. You unscrew it, and that's how everything is situated. So you can imagine in your mind, oh, it's probably really impossible to get your fingers on the back of the USB port facing me, right? Even if you could stick your hand all the way in there, you can't you don't have the maneuverability. And what you need to do around a USB port is put like a putty, or it's like a little clear jelly, and you put it around the back of that USB port, and it helps to dissipate heat away from your USB port. It's a good thing. You put it in there as like a savant. Like, I know what I'm doing. You gotta put this jelly around that USB port to dissipate heat away from the USB port, or it'll fry some shit. So it fried my work headset. It fried my personal headset. I bought two additional headsets, and just got back from lunch last night. Taylor's drinking. It's the 4th of July. Like, let's have a night. Like, screw it. And I'm like, I'm on the clock. So I sit down at. I think I got back from lunch at like 7:15. I went to a late lunch, right? I get back at like 7:15. My power went off. So I finally sit back down. I replaced my headsets. No, I didn't get a new computer. I reported that shit yesterday. Um, But keep this in mind. When I've talked to help desk, like IT, and I've explained that this will now be the fourth PC that I've had, their reaction has been, "Oh, that's normal." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we bought a whole bunch of those micro PCs, those small PCs, and we got to get through them all." And I'm like, "So do people have problems?" And they're like, well, if you don't have any other holes in your electrical system in your house, it's gonna it's gonna eventually go through that USB port. Is gonna get really hot. And I'm like, oh, so you mean if I don't have like a faulty electrical system in my home, right? Yes, exactly. Keep in mind, I've blocked most of the people, and you know what's crazy? I get notifications pretty frequently that for my safety, TikTok has deleted comments that I've never even seen. It happens all the fucking time. Like, TikTok's like, just so you know, we're gonna go ahead and police this for you. And couldn't even tell you. Couldn't even tell you. It's like a setting I turned on. Hmm. Yep. So there have probably been just as many least obvious MAGA. No, not at all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But, you know, I don't I wouldn't necessarily blame someone for putting someone else in a box. It's kind of the world we live in. Notice I'm wearing all black on the 4th of July, and I'm not draped in the American flag. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, so when I've talked to IT about it and explained what's gone wrong with the computer, they're like, "Yeah, totally normal. We can't put that putty around that USB port to dissipate heat away. And so if you don't have any other problems with your electrical system in your house, eventually that USB port's going to get too much power. Hmm. And it's going to break." Yeah, you're bad. Yeah, except my shit says Second Marine Division, so that means you know that I was in the infantry. Yeah. Generally, people that aren't cognizant of how we are all paper mache and how, uh, man, yeah, I think that's where I'll leave that. If you have no concept of what happens after the equal sign, um, you'll do things like drape yourself in the American flag today. Semper Fi, Knowles. Yeah, I've never met infantry that's MAGA. Period. I've met plenty of people that are the wannabe veterans that I would have served, but I would have beat up a drill instructor. And let me just tell you who you're not beating up, like ever. First of all, there's like a million of them. Second of all, when they're not giving you the hand, they're like working out and eating right and sleeping 8 hours a day. For the record, I had a fucking great time at boot camp. I actually thought the shit was funny because I lost. I was an athlete my whole life, so I actually lost 100 pound to join. Right. So by the time I got to boot camp, like I was in pretty good shape actually. And I was big. I was a big fucking guy. I'm six. I was 6'3" and a half, 228 when I shipped. That's a big fucking Marine. And I was in the infantry. And I was in 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines Weapons Company. And 2-2 was the most combat deployed unit in Marine Corps history. So they put this big piece of shit in like the shit. Yeah. And I just got really lucky that when I got to 2-2, they were on the tail end of their 5th straight deployment to Iraq. Hmm. I told you they were the most combat deployed unit in Marine Corps history. Yeah. They got selected for the 26 MEU. So I've always told everyone I'm not a war hero. I fucking know some, right? Yeah. TikTok sergeants, Facebook generals, keyboard vets. That's the funny thing about that whole like regime is they can't even stay on those websites. Did y'all see JD Vance like created an account on Blue Sky and it got insta banned because they were like, why the fuck would JD Vance come to Blue Sky? It's got to be a fake. And it was actually JD Vance. Somebody said, I like Vance. That's wild. Yeah, I don't fuck with this regime at all. JD Vance wrote Project 2025 for Donald Trump. So all this horrible shit that's about to happen is JD Vance. And oh, by the way, Peter Thiel paid for this. Hmm. So yeah, I don't really fuck with this regime at all. And I'm equally pissed. How's your yard looking now? They mowed yesterday, and I didn't even hear it. So, looks great. You can definitely tell they've put chemicals down because there's brown spots, but it's weeds, and we'd never really treated the yard because I have dogs. But when I talked to the Trinity Landscaping, who's taking care of my yard, he was like, "You've never treated your yard, have you?" And I was like, "No, I have animals. I have six animals. I have four dogs and two cats." And he was just like, "Yeah." And he goes, "So when I spray, you just got to keep them off the grass for 24 hours, and it's gonna rain right after I spray. So just keep them off the grass for 24 hours, and then you ain't gonna take them out the next day because it rains. So a couple days after that, like, don't worry about it." Is Project 2025 is an actual book manual, and it's been sold out. Yeah. hmm Yeah, he's totally the type of person to really trying not to get banned on TikTok. Check out early. Yeah, I'm assuming you can go download the PDF where available. Today, uh, if you're not already busy, and a thing I'll try not to do is step on people's fucking toes and not tell people how to behave on a holiday. It's a fucking holiday. Do whatever you was gonna do. My wife's going to the pool, but instead of being rowdy and drunk and staying for the fireworks, she's gonna go in the morning when the kids ain't there, get some sun. And and I am working my regularly scheduled shift. A lot of people have said I'm too pissed to celebrate. I gotta protest. What do I do? And then when you start talking about protesting with somebody, they'll say something stupid like, "Man, protesting doesn't do anything unless you protest every day." And that's called the May Day movement, and they're in the third month of their first 90 days straight protest in Washington, D.C. So I understand that there are people out there that are hesitant to join protest because they can't protest every day. And they also think that in order for protest to be effective, it has to happen every day. And the good news is none of the people that think those things are attending protests, so you don't have to worry about those people. And instead, it's if you can get to Washington D.C., you could be protesting every day as part of the May Day movement. Okay. Now, most people can't do that. Can't do that. Okay. You don't live close enough. It's not drivable. Yada yada. They don't have the money, and that's okay. There are a couple different directions to go. So you could go 5050.1. Okay. You could go indivisible.org. And if it feels like when you watch this show, Jared, we talk a lot about the same kind of things every day. What do you think this is for? Is because I want to continue to point out the people that are telling you to commit acts of V are not doing it themselves. They're being provocateurs. They're also trying to make a dollar. And I also want to point out all the people that have been politically ambiguous this whole time. I just want to point those people out are the people trying to sell you shit today. Those are the people trying to tell you how to celebrate today. Okay? So don't let anybody tell you how to celebrate or if you can celebrate or not. And if you don't feel like celebrating, you can just protest. And ultimately, if you can't go to a protest, you could just protest at your house. You could just put a sign in your yard. It's as easy as that. It's actually a lot easier to just delete Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Messenger, Twitter, stop using Amazon. I used Amazon yesterday, and I hate it. I use it to buy my furnace filters. That's 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 it. And I had to buy headsets because I needed them today, and I couldn't leave my house because I'm on the clock. That's about the only reason. Okay, a lot of people, a lot of people are displaying their unhappiness with America, um, with the United States at this point. I want to make sure that I say, okay, uh, I separate Americans from their leadership. I've sat here and told you I'm there are only 535 seats of government. There are 535 people better for the fucking job. Most people do not call themselves a Republican or a Democrat. Most people don't do that. And for the record, most people also wouldn't say, I'm pretty middle of the road. Most people also don't do that. Okay? Most people are leftist, they just don't realize it. Most people are super left. Let me explain. Do you hate capitalism? Can you acknowledge it and say that that shit fucking destroys everything it touches? Okay, you're not a liberal. Okay? If you can acknowledge that capitalism, if you know what capitalism is, and you understand that it fucking destroys everything it touches, and you think there's got to be a better fucking way than that, you are not a liberal. You are a leftist. You just haven't discovered all the other things that you also believe. You just haven't figured it out yet. For example, do you feel the rising cost of healthcare? Have you felt? Yes? So then you'd say, and you and I can agree then, that universal healthcare is got to be way better than the system that we have. 33 of 34 developed countries have it. All of these countries that charge us oodles in the United States, they also exist in those developed countries. They still manage everybody's healthcare in those other countries. And oh, by the way, all the money Americans pay for our healthcare is a drop in the hat compared to how much money they make managing people's healthcare internationally. So for those of you that are like, well, I hate capitalism, but I don't want universal healthcare because I don't want the government to run my healthcare. I just want you to know that universal healthcare does not mean government run healthcare. Just so you understand. And a lot of people have been like, well, how do we get universal healthcare then? If it's not controlled by the government. Oh, it's perfect. Do you see how Harvard went tuition free? Do you see how the University of Virginia, MIT, Texas, all of the Ivy League schools are now tuition free as long as you fall under certain income categories? You still gotta like get into the program, but it doesn't cost, right? That's how you also get universal healthcare is all these companies that have been doing healthcare for profit that don't do that healthcare for profit shit in 33 of 34 developed countries could just stop doing that shit here. Hmm. They could just decide that. The healthcare industry in the United States is failing. So they have choices, and they're choosing to fail over just giving everybody healthcare. Because that's how capitalism works. Capitalism will go down with the ship. It absolutely will. It will destroy everything it touches, and it'll just hang on to the very end and take every last cent with it. That's exactly how that shit works. Okay? So once you realize you're anti-capitalist and that you want universal health care, then one of the things that, I don't get to use it often enough at work, but I should. But how much of your youth has been stolen by all of the interest you're paying on your student loans? And so once you realize how much of your youth you've given up paying interest on student loans, then now you're like, well, there's got to be a better way because this shit doesn't work for me. So then you believe in universal education. You think that because they're already doing it. They have it in all over the place. I just explained how colleges have gone tuition free. Major big ass colleges have gone tuition free. Mhm. I bought a Harvard hoodie, right? Because they lead the way. Because Donald Trump attacked them and they stood up to his ass. And by the way, they're winning. Okay. And then, are you broke? Because you're probably broke. There are probably a not rich people watching me. You get what I'm saying? And I define rich people as after you pay all of your bills, you have money to play with and save every month and have. And you're getting to the point where you can no longer invest in your retirement because you've capped it. That would be a rich person. Somebody who's fully prepared for the future. And I don't talk to those people. I don't run into those people. So that means you're probably living paycheck to paycheck. Hmm? I'm not a communist. No, and socialism and communism are on opposite ends of the spectrum, and communism is stupid. Remember, one of the end goals of communism is to spread the wealth. Oh, you mean like trickle down economics? Oh, so you're gonna try to sell me that bullshit? Yeah. How about fucking no? I'm not a communist. Communism is stupid. The end goal is trickle down economics. Yeah, you're gonna have to do better than that. Sorry, kids. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. Somebody gets paid less to flip burgers. Somebody gets paid more to, I don't know, run a bank. Okay? But if your pockets are empty and you're not able to save, I can almost assuredly tell you that your youth is being stolen by either the interest you're paying on student loans or credit cards or personal loans or payday loans or short-term loans. And if you have more than 10,000, like you're paying more than $500 a month, you're probably paying like $400 a month in interest. Hmm. To the types of corporations that support this regime. So I hate to feel like a billboard, but I kind of am one. I have to work today on July 4th. Nobody gives a fuck if you served and shit, if you're a good person and shit, if you're a great employee that's had a rough fucking week. They don't give a fuck. I'm scheduled to work today. So hey, I would rather have people who hear what I am saying. Hey, if you look at your credit karma and if you have more than $10,000 in unsecured debt is like a non mortgage or non car loan. Something that isn't attached to anything is unsecure. If you look at that, if you have more than $10,000 in credit cards and personal loans and payday loans, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, but those bills are getting paid, and you're struggling to pay them even, oh yeah, we can get you out of debt. How about we stop paying that shit today? Take that shit off auto pay today. Tear up them credit cards today. Call me today. And don't worry, people have started calling. I figured they would. I'd say it enough. You know what I mean? Like the other day, I saved someone $100,000 in 20 years off their repayment. The fuck out of here. You can't spend money with me. I can only help you. I can only reduce your payment and interest and your repayment. I would venture to say I'm saving the average person a decade and at least a few $100 a month. And getting you out of debt in the next few years instead of, I don't know, however fucking long it was going to take to pay that all off. And the best part about it is that I am in a growing industry because the economy is so fucking bad. So, if you feel like I do, that we don't have a pro equality party, we don't have a party that's meant for women and people of color and the LGBTQIA plus community, and the American Socialist Party is for everyone. hmm That's being pro equality. hmm And then, hey, how do we build the American Socialist Party? We're syndicalists, which means that we believe in the power of unions. And so, if you do nothing today, the most patriotic thing that you could do today is join a fucking union. If you don't have the type of job that has a union, I joined Work in America. I work in finance. It's the wild, wild west. So, Work in America was best for me. And by the way, I saw this and I wanted to share it. It's a mural in France, and it's a picture, and it's a mural of Lady Liberty with her hand over her face. But yeah, a lot of people have been. I got on the internet this morning and mistakenly, one of the things I try not to do before I go live is I try not to sit around and stare at what everybody else is doing. And unfortunately, I broke that rule today. And it's not really a rule, it's just like something that has happened to me since I started putting myself out there in like 2016, 2017. um, I learned not to read the fucking comments. The YouTube chat that we have, that culture and community that we've built over like 6, 7 months, um, it's really special and unique. Whereas, frankly, the TikTok chat has gotten me banned largely. So, want to answer, but yeah, happy 4th of July, everybody. Um, I want to make sure that the message that I get across to everyone else is to try to enjoy today as much as you can. Um, if that means changing some plans and protecting your peace, so be it. Somebody said, America's done. I don't really believe that. Here, let me explain. So, there's this alligator Alcatraz, right? It's horrible. It's a horrible thing. Okay? DHS pretty much like built it. They've already backed off and been like, yeah, I really want to just know that no Democrat voted for this. Yeah, throwing people chained together to the sea. Yep. One of the things I try to remind people is, hey, you're just seeing and hearing more than you were ever meant to see. And it's almost like the president of the United States acts like, mm, yeah, first of all, how dare anyone tell anyone else how to feel today? You know, I think that your feelings are valid. Uh, Kind of no matter what you're feeling, with the exception of I am not giving anyone any space to be telling other people how to celebrate today. I'm wearing all black and I have to work. That's how I'm celebrating. For a short while last night, I was afraid I was not going to have power today. And remember that the cruelty is the point, chaos is the point, and that Donald Trump always chickens out. So don't be surprised. Yo, YouTube, according to this post on R50501, the White House put out a piece of content that got removed from YouTube. I'm not gonna share it with you because I'm not gonna be like, oh, that shit's real. It's like, yo, that post says, yeah. But again, I just want to point out, I would not be taking leadership from anyone telling me to be V. Um, anyone saying, oh, it's open season on these motherfuckers, like that's not leadership. Stand your ground, protect yourself, all that shit, right? But yeah, there's far too much energy out there trying to push people into violence and into chaos. This is what they want. This is what they want. Last night on the eve of July 4th, you know what I mean? On July 3rd eve, uh, there were fireworks after 10 p.m. So, as I crawled in bed last night. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, Dubs. It's pretty rough. Yeah, they want to feed kids to gators, right? right? I just want to remind you that um, this is a war of attrition, and that should you choose that path, I hope you have a high KD. Otherwise, it's not worth. You won't be a martyr in the movement. We don't have enough momentum. It's boycott, protest, and strike. Control what you can control. Get 8 hours of sleep a night. I'm not MAGA. You fucking idiot. Get 8 hours of sleep a night. I notice all the people out here promising violence aren't delivering any. That would say that you're soft. hmm You're not a hero. You're weak and powerless. But together we can do anything. I promise. I promise. Put your heads together. Today would be a great day to protest, boycott, and strike. hmm July 8th through 11th would be during Amazon Prime days would be perfect times to strike. Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to see an increase in posts on social media where people are saying uh, it's now's the time to take up arms and to exact our revenge. And it's like, this isn't some fucking novel that you read. You're LARPing. It takes a concentration of force you do not have. You need to protest, boycott, and strike. You need to cripple them financially first so that they're not more well armed than you. This is a war of attrition. People every single day are waking up and they're like, I can't fuck with this regime anymore. I gotta go a different direction, and they're looking for another direction to go. There's a reason that I have a daily live podcast. Yeah, July 8th through 11th. It's like Amazon's summer sale. It'd be a really good time to go on strike. I mean, you really want to send a message to the powers that be. How about a global strike during Amazon Prime days, the capitalist day of all capitalism, right? It's literally I normally through the way I consume media, I normally am only made aware of when holidays are, right? Just because of the nature of life. I really only see holidays. But for the last like week or so, I've seen ads for fucking Amazon Prime days, July 8th through 11th, and I'm like, that would be a great time for a strike. Well, I'll try to breathe less. I guess I should turn it down. Is this better? It doesn't sound like I'm screaming. But yeah, I bought for the record. It's the suggested one on Amazon. The Logitech H390. If you wondered, if you wondered, like, damn, that sounds good. Yeah, I bought two of them for 48.99. Yeah. So this is what it'll sound like at work too. If my computer works today when I turn it on. Hopefully, when I turn it on and plug in a USB port, the USB connector doesn't get so hot that it blows out my headset. Hopefully, that doesn't fucking happen because I'm gonna be pissed if I have to work today and my computer is shot, which is what I anticipate. Did I turn it down too much? I'm assuming everybody was going to rush out and buy that headset because it's awesome. Yeah, I got a new headset, Bob. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. Two for 48.99 shipped same day. But yeah, make sure a and what I've also seen is the weather's gonna be crazy. Like hot today. Um, to make sure you're drinking water. Stay hydrated. Stay in the shade. He said, "Leave it there. It's awesome." I did turn it down because I see it. There is like a. I do have a little bit of a board, a soundboard with like a volume like measurement in front of me, and largely I'm staying in like the green area, which is kind of where you want to be. Once I, you see, once I get up there and I get into the yellow, that's where I'd be worried about hurting your ears. And I turned it down so that there's just not sound in the red. So I just took it off so that that sound bar doesn't every now and then hit the red. Um, you know me, I'm trying. I'm not trying to be monotone, but I'm not an angry person. So I'm not sitting here screaming at you. I'm not yelling at you. Naturally, um, as someone who has spent most of their life in violence, like in the stuff, um, even when I came home from the Marine Corps, I still worked armed and unarmed security for over a decade here in Indianapolis. So to say I still stayed in that sort of mode. Um, again, we're all just paper mache. We all just fold like a lawn chair. And when you are resisting and you are violent, you're gonna get folded, and then you cost your movement because then they have to get you, they have to heal you, and they have to get you back in the fight, and now you have a violent fight. And it's like, but if you just didn't do that and make the bad guys who don't even have real bullets in their guns and don't even have judicial warrants, make them overstep their bounds, know that they're going to catch charges. So if you engage with them violently and they fold you, you are an idiot because those people are looking for that and you gave it to you let them find what they's looking for. Okay? There is nothing in this world worse when you are looking for it than not finding it because then you feel like you wasted your fucking time. And I want to make sure you feel like wasting people's fucking time. That that's how you should feel. Mm-hmm. Pop in and say, "Hey, I need a meter break." Yeah. Oh shit. Remember that the most patriotic thing you can do is dissent. So, you look so lonely. I'm not lonely. My wife is in the room next door, probably playing Final Fantasy 14 or Sims, kind of whichever. She bounces back and forth. So I got which one? Him not waking up or him signing the bill? Not waking up, yeah. You know what I haven't come across yet? Whatever unhinged rant he had last night at Zero Dark 30 while I was asleep. I haven't seen that yet. Maybe he just never signs it. Remember, a few days ago, Donald Trump was sitting with his aides while this was being debated in the House before it went, or when it was in the Senate, before it went to the House. And he said, I don't want this to affect people that have Medicare, Medicaid, or SNAP. And that's like the whole fucking build on. And so there's some hope that he just like doesn't sign that shit. Because if he signs this shit, I'm gonna be nice and say a few million people are in extreme danger, boo boo. And kicking people off their health care mid year, when things like Medicare and Medicaid are annual award, remember that the whole point of passing this bill now and it not really going into effect until December or January is that it gives the Republicans the ability to blame Democrats for this. Oh, remember they held it up. It would have started sooner if the Democrats hadn't held it up. But now it starts in January, and now we're in midterms, and now the Republicans have some sort of deniability, or at least that's their logic. And remember, you got to understand, the strength of your opponent is based on their leadership. So when you look at Donald Trump and you realize like he's a fucking idiot, he reads at a fourth grade reading level. He didn't write this fucking bill. AI did. Okay, him signing this bill and it not going into effect until January 1st is a Republican strategy where, yeah, they're just he's just going to try to blame the Dems, and that's how they're going to try to stay in the fight at the midterms. But I just think people are pissed. I don't, I can't like quantify that, but I think people are fucking pissed. I think the protest, boycott, and strikes are going to get louder. I think people are realizing it's hard to lift a finger. It's way less difficult to completely disconnect myself. As someone who is a serial dipper, like I go to a party, yeah. So know that this bill is going to get signed, and then that shit doesn't really go into effect until January 1. And then they're going to have midterms. It would be great if all the investigation culminated today. That would be crazy. On July 4th, only when it's darkest. I'd say I'd say on the day I just had to do 3 puzzles in a row to stay live on TikTok. So not only do they ban you on the drop of a fucking hat, but they also made me verify that I'm a person like 3 times in a row right there. So he said Crush said he can't possibly make it to January. Shit, if he makes it every week he makes it, I'm like, damn. Damn. Remember to get 8 hours of sleep. But are you a person? Remember to get 8 hours of sleep, drink water, eat right, exercise, which is exactly what these motherfuckers do not do. Okay? They don't care about that. Actually, the army did a study and said that you actually probably need more like 9.5 hours of sleep a day, and 8 hours is sort of the plenty of time for two full REM cycles. You got to realize a full REM cycle is 3 hours, and nobody falls asleep right away. That doesn't happen. Most of the people that even care about their sleep acknowledge that, like, well, you never really fall asleep right away. I go to bed before 10 and I get up after 6. Hmm? I'm in bed for more than 8 hours. Hmm? I also make oodles of American dollars. I have no debt and no children, and I'm married and a homeowner. Hmm. So I'd say like all of my decisions line up. Right. You would be better all the way around with 8 hours of sleep. Science says so. Hmm. Vance has been making disgusting comments lately about immigrants. I'm assuming this means his wife left him. No, he won't make it long. He's not stupid. I mean, he's stupid. He won't make it that long. I mean, he's the architect of Project 2025. How long do you think he lasts? Here's the way I feel about it. I think that they're afraid of Donald Trump because he has crazy psycho followers, and people don't like JD Vance like that. You got to remember Donald Trump was on TV for a long time, so there are people that just grew up with Donald Trump, and he's their fucking guy, and they're going down with the ship. But yeah, you notice they get more racist when their wives start fucking them. Stop fucking them. Hmm? Yeah. I mean, we were calling Stephen Miller. We were saying that he is unfuckable and impotent. And what happened? His wife left him for Elon, which is weird. It's weird. I can say that. It's weird. But I can't imagine. Can you imagine just even knowing all of them need matching bracelets? It's cute. She really did that. Really did what? She really did what? Uh, yeah. Not, I wouldn't say like in a relationship sense, but like she left working for the White House to go work for Elon, which is like a separation. So I'm gonna put this here. Usually on a Snopes article, if they are denying that something's true, there's a big like debunk, denied, right? Oh yeah, yeah. No, I mean Elon Musk. I think he had a botched surgery. So I don't know that. I mean, hey, ladies, if you're a little weird, you know what I'm talking about. You can put anything in latex and it's functional. It'll it'll work. Hey, that's crazy. The SSA is sending out straight up propaganda. He hasn't even signed the bill yet. Yo, that's fucking nuts. What a nutso. Yeah, no, I'm with you. If I wasn't regularly making jokes, I'd be crying. It'd probably get me more attention. Um, Speaking of crying for attention. In this video right here is a video of a car accident. When you ask me, like, who and what are the problem? Still, here's what? Yo, check this shit out. I'm gonna read this from Newsweek. Vladimir Putin congratulated Donald Trump on American independence during their call on Thursday and emphasized Russia's role in the establishment of the United States. Yuri Ushakov, the Russian presidential aide, said that during the call, Putin had spoken of deep historical roots between the two countries, according to a report by TASS. Of course, he congratulated Trump on the national holiday of the United States, Independence Day, celebrated tomorrow. It was noted from our side that Russia played an important role in the formation of American statehood, including during the War of Independence 250 years ago, and then during the Civil War, which ended 160 years ago. What the actual fuck? Right? There ain't no motherfucking way. I what? What? No. In case you were wondering. Like, nope. Nope. Russia did not have a hand in the establishment of the United States nor in its civil war. I learned a new word today because I don't use slurs. I don't learn slurs. Yeah, how about that for a wild fucking ride? I don't use slurs. Did you know Shylock is a fucking slur? Did not know. Did not know. Refers to the villainous Jewish moneylender in Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, who demands a pound of flesh from a character unable to repay a loan. It's long been considered a slur that plays on anti-Semitic tropes. Yo, I didn't know. TikTok shop, TikTok shop, TikTok shop. All right, birthday buddy. See ya. Now, because I use Opera, I can read all the articles that I post. Oh wow. Here's I hope we're just still live. I don't know if we had a little blip there. But here is an important story where a Republican representative dumped Medicaid provider stock before the big beautiful bill passed. Yeah, I don't know. The browser I was using crashed. It didn't say that the feed crashed or anything, so should have stayed live that whole time. But yeah, I see it is Friday. Most people are not working today. But yeah, I just wanna make sure that I keep my foot on the neck of anyone out here claiming that the movement against this regime should turn violent. I'm putting my foot on your neck. No, you're not, little boy. Nope. You're not being a provocateur. You're not gonna first of all, if you were gonna do something, you would never speak on it out loud. Right? If you was gonna do something, you wouldn't be talking about it. So you're not gonna do anything, and instead what you are gonna do is you're gonna parrot, right? Generally whatever you generally speaking, if they hear calls for violence, they'll do it, right? And so that's why I'm quick to stick my hand out there and say, no, you're not. Actually, you're not. Because if you're willing to do that, we need you to play defense. We need you defending, and we need you to protest, boycott, and strike. Because this regime can be defeated with memes. They have feelings. Donald Trump is the most emotional man I've ever met in my life, surrounded by a bunch of emotional people that cannot handle the smoke. And they're funded by people that have a vested interest in things that you and I can flatly live without. And that's Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Messenger, Twitter, and Amazon. I only use Amazon sparingly to get my furnace filters. I gotta get like Merv 8. I got dogs. And there won't come a time when you'll hear me say, now's the time to act in V. Because the people that you're fighting against have more resources. They have drones and facial recognition, and they have the FBI and local police working with them. Every one of them LARPers are living out their fantasy of terrorizing people. And remember, they're doing it all extrajudiciary. They don't have judicial warrants. They have administrative warrants, which are in-house warrants, and they don't even have bullets in their guns. Mm. And largely, all this money that's being invested into ICE is going into uh, Stephen Miller's pocket. He has a vested interest in Palantir. Um, so Palantir, which I believe one of the majority owners of Palantir or board members of Palantir is Peter Thiel. Yeah, I think we're mutuals. I want to point out this is Donald Trump's America, right? Like he's like a boxing fan and shit. How the fuck is he having Chavez, Cesar Chavez, arrested for overstaying his visa and lying on a green card application and deported him to Mexico? He lost the fight to Jake Paul. Oh, I didn't even know he fought. That's because Jake Paul is not a real fighter. Jake Paul Jake Paul is living out a life that I decided not to live. Yo, it's crazy. Went to a 4th of July event yesterday and there were snipers swatting drones. Yo, that's nuts. That's nuts. Some people say dumb shit. Direct action, civil disobedience should have been the reaction from day one. In the words of MLK, now is the time. Take a page out of the 2020 Black Lives Matter protest. Stop looking at your own comfort first. Start thinking of getting arrested. What? That sounds stupid. Somebody said, I think he has outstanding warrants in Mexico on multiple charges. But that's not what the story said. Why'd they wait until days after a high profile event? Picked up while riding a scooter? The current allegations are outrageous and simply another headline to terrorize the community, his lawyer said. The son is the one who'd been arrested. The U.S. believe he is believed to be an affiliate of the powerful Sinaloa cartel that is blamed for a significant portion of Mexico's drug violence. Hmm. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah, this is these up to something. So yeah, I'd be careful about about trying to take the side of the oppressed, right? When I tell you yeah, yeah, intentionally getting arrested stupid. You're, the only people telling you to get comfortable getting arrested are people that have never been to jail. Just like all the people telling you to be violent aren't violent. They're not out here pew pew on hip shooting in the sky. I'm putting together a militia. They're not doing that. They're sitting at home in their house, comfortable, telling you to go be violent. And that is fucking short sighted. It lacks organization and coordination, practice, repetition. People are just going to get hurt. You're unorganized. Your mission's unclear. You're going to go out there all helter skelter. Does anyone know? Yeah, I've been arrested, Cat. I sat in a drunk tank when I was in college for a few hours. Yes. I don't know what the difference between getting arrested and a real arrest is. So, if you're implying that there has to be some kind of physical violence included with that arrest for it to be real, then you're right. Yeah, I didn't get my arms twisted up and thrown on the ground and shit. I just also got put in handcuffs. hmm So, yes. Well, when you stack shit this high, the cop asks, "Are you gonna hurt me?" And I'm like, "No, what? Like, can I finish my fries?" Like, yeah, okay. Here, I'm gonna throw them away. Do you need to put me in handcuffs? Yes. Put me in handcuffs. They put me in handcuffs. I'm like, "You're not gonna break out of my handcuffs, are you?" And I'm like, "Can I break out of your handcuffs?" And I'm like, "Please don't try." And I'm like, "Okay." I'll just go sit in the car. I didn't do anything wrong. I was in the passenger seat. So yeah, my whole life has been different because I'm like a large person. Trump is case in point. He's sitting in the White House when he told people to be violent. Yeah. Remember, he ordered protesters to be tear gassed so he could get a photo op during his first term. Remember that? That was awesome, right? That was some Das Fuhrer shit. 25 people watching me now. Make sure you take a nap today. Man, Tesla sales dropping sharply. Nothing like it. And you know what pisses me off the most about Tesla in a free fall? Yeah, then he held the Bible upside down. Yeah, I can't forget that shit. Is them parking all them cars nobody wants at like the mall and shit. They're basically trash. And remember, if you see a business with an Israeli flag, that you do not do business with them. Here's the BBC thinking along those lines. Here's the BBC staff saying we are forced to say pro-Israel shit. Uh, you'll never you'll never hear me be pro-Israel. Nope. Because I understand that the United States needs an ally in the Middle East that they can trust. Hey, they ain't it. Okay? They're committing a genocide. Free Palestine. Also, Russia's our enemy. Slava Ukraine. Hmm. Oh, I want to point out they said they built alligator Alcatraz and shit in 8 days. It's a bunch of tents. It's more like Auschwitz. It's just a bunch of tents. It's not. They didn't build anything. They didn't build walls. In fact, not only did they not build anything, it flooded before they put anyone in it. And do you know what's super fucking dangerous in the fucking Everglades in a flooded area? Snakes. There's fucking snakes all over the Everglades. Who's gonna work there? Never mind you putting people there. We already know that's gonna happen. How are you gonna govern them? I saw a video that I think was AI, but it showed them putting a bunch of Latinos in these cages with like snakes and fucking um, alligators and shit, and then you see them. They've tamed the alligators and the snakes are their pets and shit, and they're like using the alligators for transportation. Yeah, mosquitoes are crazy too. Yeah. Yep. South Florida going from like Tampa to Miami, like across through the Everglades. It's the only time I've ever had to pull over to clean off my windshield from how big the bugs were. Hmm. Yep. I was in a little rental car and something big and fucking yellow smacked into my windshield and I couldn't see shit. It was like somebody threw a carton of eggs onto my windshield. Water moccasins and copperheads. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And understand, like they are all the same. All these people are cruel as fuck, and they will all chicken out at the last possible second. So obviously, people are unaliving as a result of these conditions. Just remember that violent crime has no um, statute of limitations. So you may have at one point you've seen a crime committed and they didn't get punished for it. Know that um, it gets everybody. They don't miss. Hmm. Space Ghost said there's no parking. Exactly. So you're gonna stuff people in here and leave them? What? A lot of dengue fever. Yeah. What I see is heat related injuries. A lot of them. Because it's hot. hmm And you're taking people that are not acclimated to that environment. Yeah, like where do the guards park? That's what I'm talking about. Remember that the cruelty is the point. hmm Yeah, yeah. It definitely didn't cost $450 million to put up those tents. Yeah, that's part of all of this. Part of all of this is all of this is a big money grab. hmm So I'm glad to be here with you all. I anticipated a light crowd. It is a holiday. No matter how people feel on it about it, I have to work. I also am about to unlock Garuda in Final Fantasy XIV. So I'm playing as a summoner, a Hrothgar summoner, and so far I can summon a Freet and Titan, but I haven't summoned Garuda yet. We're about to unlock that shit. You got to be like level 45. So I'm finally level 45, and then you got to be pretty far up there in the Arcanist quest line to unlock Garuda, which is like that's a big thing in Final Fantasy. Like I'm almost there. So yeah, I get it. Shit's tough out here. Best thing you can do. Um, Stop using Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Messenger, Twitter. Those things are making you a target. And stop using Amazon. hmm I try it very sparingly, only in emergencies. Um, and obviously, I think it kind of goes without saying, get to know your fucking neighbors, right? To say that there may be not, you know what? Not even, I'm not even giving you oxygen. Somebody said in on TikTok to close here that we won't even know the impacts of that bill, good or bad, for more than a year. Oh, really? What possible good outcomes are there? Never mind. I don't even care. So, Jesus. We talked about how it goes into effect on January 1st and how it gives Donald Trump some level of deniability. Yeah, Kara, that's what I was going to say, and that's kind of why I was holding my tongue. We won't know the effects of this bill, good or bad. Get the fuck out of here. Was there anything that you saw? Yeah, I was going to say, they were already shutting down clinics yesterday, talking about hospitals that if this hospital closes, the next closest hospital is like 30 minutes away, and it's also on the closure list. So this means in a city in the United States, both hospitals are in danger of closing within like an hour of each other. Dude, that those two hospitals serve like an entire city of people. So the remember this is what Vladimir Putin wants. The weakening of the United States. And remember, morale is super important. Morale is super important, and the harming of the least among us, the not the least among us. I hate to say it like that, but like our disabled friends and our elderly and our poor. The I wouldn't say the least among us. I'm sorry, but our elderly, our poor, our disabled. It's demoralizing, and so keep that in mind. What they're doing with all of this is meant to, like, cruelty is the point, demoralization is the goal. Hmm. Yeah. There's an E on the end of that, Dubs. Morale. Morale. So keep your spirits high no matter what, and know that, like, you're gonna go through some shit. You're about to go through some shit. Yeah, less fortunate. That's what I meant. Have a good day, y'all. Addicted to fatal attractions. Laid back in a Mr. Mansion. No fairy tale, but this young black man. So he's strained in the hail, jail, and crack sales. Hustler, hardly thinker culture. Or the repercussion while busting all backstabbing vultures. Sold for material wishes, fast cars and bitches. In my life, a legend immortalized in pictures. Why shed tears? My childhood years were spent burying my peers in the cemetery. Here's a message to the newborn, waiting to breathe if you believe.